You have indeed been a worthy ambassador of our country. We are proud of your achievements before and during your appointment at OPEC and the proud legacies you will leave behind. Your time in charge of affairs of OPEC has been a very challenging time for the global oil industry. Oil producers were finding it difficult to come together to address the challenges that was crippling the oil market. Not long after the world was faced with the coronavirus pandemic that sent crude oil prices spiraling down at an alarming rate, you showed incredible leadership to rally industry players and push through the turbulent times. There is no doubt that your efforts in putting together the Declaration of Cooperation, which is the largest in the history of OPEC and the global oil industry, and also the longest in duration in the history of the organization. This was a Herculean task. You have given experienced administrative management to OPEC in the first 6 years, and your efforts have placed the organization in a stronger position to confront the challenges it will face in the coming years.
In his response, Mr. Barkindo attributed his success to the tremendous guidance, charisma, and international gravitas of President Muhammadu Buhari and cooperation by members of the organization. The former OPEC Secretary General notes that the Declaration of Cooperation, which is now in its 6th year, also helped the organization to navigate the turbulence in the market occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020.
We never expected, Mr. President, that a virus in 2020 will completely destabilize the oil market and indeed bring the entire global industry to the brink. On the 20th of April, Mr. President, WTI, the West Texas Intermediate benchmark crude of the United States, went into negative territory to minus $38 a barrel. And for the first time in history, sellers of oil like ourselves had to pay buyers to take our crude. And then it dawned on everyone that the world needed to act. And act we did because we realized that we didn't have to reinvent the wheel. We had the tested toolkit in the Declaration of Cooperation that we signed in December 2016 that had worked for several years. All we needed to do was to dust it up and to amend it in order to face this calamitous situation. And we were able to, as Minister Silva said, agree to withdraw 9.7 million barrels a day from the market, and this was the highest ever adjustment in the history of OPEC, in the history of oil, because of the gravity of the situation. And we took a decision for a duration of 2 years. Most of the decisions that we normally take had maximum of 1 year. But because of this gravity, we had to take a longer duration. We are currently in the final lap of restoring the entire 9.7 million barrels a day to the market, because the market has responded positively